Cartoon Trash here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new 1 hour Ready to Go special Back to Bortron 7. So the plot for this movie, or 1 hour special, whatever you want to call it, is that Jet's parents need to do a presentation on Bortron 7, so they need to go back, and Sean and Sydney join them. So as you all know, I really love this show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. It's the best modern preschool show out there, and it's my favorite show ever on PBS Kids. Well, it's not objectively the best show ever on PBS Kids, but I still really like it. So I just had to review this movie. Now, there will be spoilers for this movie in this review, so if you haven't seen Back to Bortron 7, go check it out on the PBS Kids website while it's still up there right now, or go watch it on Amazon, and then come back to this video. Sean and Cindy's parents are out of town, so they get to stay with the Propulsion family for the whole weekend. The Propulsion house transforms into the mothership, which they used when they got to Earth. But the Propulsions don't want anyone to notice that they're gone, so Jet 2 has to project a hologram of the house so no one gets suspicious. But the hologram glitches and Mitchell does get suspicious, but more on that later. Anyway, there's tons of suspense in this movie. Well, as expected for a 1 hour special. So, Jet's aunt, Eggplant, informs Carrot and Celery that once they finish their presentation, they'll be assigned to another planet. Jet having to leave Earth would be really depressing. Not only would it mess up the status quo of the show, Jet just made these new earthly friends. If he had to leave them, that's really depressing. They're the best friends he's ever had. Let's just... damn. Then, Jet and his family are allowed to stay on Earth when Jet and his friends and family put on an amazing, almost Broadway-like production about how Earth has oceans and Bortron 7 does not. For me, one of the most heartwarming parts of the episode is when they're leaving Bortron 7 and Jet, Sean, and Sydney share a hug. That was extremely cute. Now, let's talk about the B-plot with Mitchell. I really liked the B-plot too. It was an interesting take on the Cassandra Truth trope. So, Jet 2 has a hard time keeping the hologram stable, and at one point it disappears completely. Mitchell tries to expose Jet's secret to the entire town, but then luckily the propulsion house drops down and Jet 2 somehow causes an eclipse. Yeah, it was pretty weird and also kind of dumb at the same time, but I really liked the B plot too. It was decent. So on the show, my three least favorite characters were Mr. Peterson, Uncle Zucchini, and Jet's cousin Zurk. They all appeared in this special. However, they received massive character development, and I no longer hate any of them. Allow me to explain. So the problem I have with Uncle Zucchini is that he contributes almost nothing to the plot. He's very annoying, and whenever he appears in an episode, he takes up almost all the screen time. However, Uncle Zucchini, well, he mostly took a backseat to his wife, Eggplant, and he didn't appear as much. Oh, he contributed very little to the plot in this movie, but it was still refreshing to not see him hog the screen for the entire 52 minutes. Mr. Peterson, he just acts like a snob most of the time to the Propulsions, especially in the episode Earth Camping. But in this episode, he actually did something cool. He stood up to his son. His son acts like a brat most of the time to him, especially in the episodes Minnie's Weather Report and Earth Camping, but he actually called him out for lying. Even though Mitchell wasn't lying, Mr. Peterson called him out for him instead of spoiling him like he usually does, so that was cool. And finally, we have Jet's cousin Zurk. I'm just going to briefly talk about him since I don't want this review to be too long. Zurk was very annoying, especially in the episode Whole Lotta Shaking, where he acted like a bully to Sean and Sydney. But in this episode, he's actually nicer. He was still annoying, he has an awful singing voice, but he actually was nicer to Sean and Sydney, and he actually contributed something important to the plot, and yeah. So yeah, the special was amazing. Just going to put it out there. The songs were brilliant. The story was brilliant. The characterization was brilliant. Sydney's voice is pretty bad, but still, a pretty good special. I give it 4.9 stars out of 5. And see you on my next review. Bye.